My name is Marcus, and this happened in November of 2021 when I was renting a secluded cabin in the woods of rural Oregon. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I had booked this place for a whole month just to get away from the city and focus on a massive project. The cabin was beautiful, but incredibly isolated. The nearest neighbor was at least 2 miles down a winding dirt road, and the property was surrounded by dense, towering pine trees. It was my third night there. A heavy rainstorm had rolled in around 8 p.m., bringing with it a freezing wind that made the old timber of the cabin groan. I was sitting in the living room on the first floor, my laptop on the coffee table, with only the glow of the screen and a single reading lamp illuminating the room. The cabin had this massive wraparound porch made of wooden planks. Around 11:30 p.m., over the sound of the rain, I heard a distinct sound. Thud, creak, thud. It was the sound of heavy boots walking on the wooden porch outside. My hands froze on my keyboard. I told myself it was just the wind, or maybe a branch falling from one of the pines. But then I heard it again, slower this time. Someone was walking deliberately from the front of the house toward the side, right where the large living room windows were located. Why would someone be out there in the freezing rain? Was it the property owner checking on things? Nah, that made no sense at this hour. I turned off my reading lamp, plunging the room into darkness, and crept over to the window. I pressed my face close to the cold glass and looked out through a narrow gap in the blinds. It was pitch black outside, but as my eyes adjusted, I saw a shadow. A tall figure, wearing what looked like a dark, heavy raincoat, was standing perfectly still on the porch, facing the window. My heart hammered in my chest. He was just a few feet away, separated from me only by a pane of glass. I couldn't make out any facial features, but I could tell he was looking directly into the dark living room. Did he know I was standing there? Could he see me? Suddenly, the figure slowly raised his hand and tapped a single knuckle against the glass. Tap. I stopped breathing. It was like a scene from a nightmare. He knew exactly where I was standing. He didn't say a word. He just slowly dragged his knuckles down the wet glass, creating a high-pitched, terrifying squeak, and then started walking toward the back of the house. He was heading for the sliding glass door in the kitchen. I panicked. I grabbed my phone and sprinted to the kitchen, making sure the deadbolt on the sliding door was locked. As soon as I checked it, the handle violently jaggled from the outside. He was trying to get in. I dialed 911, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. The dispatcher told me it would take deputies at least 20 minutes to reach my location because of the mud and rain. 20 minutes. I backed away from the glass door and hid in the hallway closet, clutching a heavy flashlight, listening to the man walk circles around the cabin, testing every single window and door. He never spoke, never shouted. He just methodically looked for a weakness. By the time the police sirens finally wailed in the distance, the footsteps on the porch had stopped. The police found muddy boot prints circling the entire house, but the man had vanished into the tree line. I packed my bags that same night and followed the police cruiser back to the main highway. I have never stayed in a remote house alone since.
I was 19 years old, home for the summer from college, and picking up some extra cash house-sitting for a wealthy family in my neighborhood, the Millers. They lived in a massive 3-story modern house at the end of a cul-de-sac. They had hired me to watch their 2 golden retrievers while they took a 2-week vacation in Europe. Because the house was so big, the Millers had an extensive security system. They had given me access to the camera app on my phone, which allowed me to view the feed from the cameras in the living room, the kitchen, and the front porch. It was my 4th night staying there. I was up in the master bedroom on the 2nd floor, scrolling through social media in bed. It was around 2 a.m. The dogs were asleep on the floor next to me. Suddenly, one of the dogs, Max, stood up. The hair on his back raised, and he let out a low, growling growl, staring intently at the closed bedroom door. The other dog woke up and immediately joined him, barking aggressively at the hallway. My blood ran cold. Dogs don't just react like that to nothing. I grabbed my phone and immediately opened the security camera app. I clicked on the living room feed. The room was dark, illuminated only by the grainy, green-tinted night vision of the camera. The living room looked completely empty. I breathed a sigh of relief. "It's nothing, guys," I whispered, reaching out to pet Max, but he didn't stop growling. I switched the app to the kitchen feed. When the video buffered and appeared on my screen, all the air left my lungs. Standing in the middle of the kitchen, right next to the marble island, was a man. He was wearing dark clothes and had a bandana pulled up over the lower half of his face. But what made it so disturbing wasn't just that he was in the house, it was what he was doing. He wasn't going through the cabinets, he wasn't looking for electronics to steal. He was standing completely still, holding a large kitchen knife down by his side, his head tilted back, staring straight up at the ceiling. He was staring directly up at the master bedroom. He was listening to the dogs bark. Before we get to the terrifying conclusion of this encounter, if you're enjoying the fear, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps these stories reach more victims. Now, back to the nightmare. As I stared at the phone screen, paralyzed with terror, the man slowly lowered his head. He turned his body toward the camera mounted in the corner of the kitchen. He stared directly into the lens, his eyes wide and unblinking, and then he raised a finger to his lips in a shushing motion. Then he walked out of the camera's view, heading toward the stairs. I didn't hesitate. I shoved the dogs into the master bathroom, locked the bathroom door, and dialed 911. I hid in the bathtub, sobbing quietly, listening to the heavy, slow footsteps creaking their way up the wooden staircase. Step, pause, step, pause. He reached the top of the landing. I heard the handle of the master bedroom door turn. He was in the room. The dogs were going absolutely ballistic in the bathroom with me, barking and scratching at the door. I heard the man walk right up to the bathroom door. He stood on the other side of the wood for what felt like an eternity. Then, the flashing red and blue lights of the police cruisers illuminated the window. The footsteps quickly retreated down the hall and down the stairs. The police found the back patio door completely shattered. The man was gone, and they never caught him. But the image of him staring into that camera, holding that knife, is burned into my memory forever.
This took place just last year. I work a remote IT job, and my roommates were out of town for a music festival, leaving me alone in our suburban home for the weekend. It was a Saturday night, pouring rain outside, and I had spent the last 5 hours gaming in my room on the second floor with my noise-canceling headphones on. Around 1 a.m., I got hungry and ordered some fast food through a delivery app. The app indicated the driver was about 15 minutes away, so I kept playing. Eventually, my phone buzzed on my desk. It was a notification from the app. Your order has been delivered. There was a blurry photo showing the brown paper bag sitting on my front welcome mat. I took my headphones off and walked downstairs to grab it. The house was dead quiet, save for the rain lashing against the windows. I unlocked the front door, opened it, and looked down. The welcome mat was empty. I frowned, stepping out onto the porch in my socks. I looked left and right. Nothing. Did the driver take it back? Did they leave it at the wrong house? I pulled out my phone and looked at the delivery photo again. The mat in the picture was definitely mine. The potted plant next to the door was mine. The food had been there. I walked to the edge of the porch and peered into the darkness of the front yard. That's when I saw it. About 10 feet away, sitting in the wet grass near the bushes, was the crumpled brown paper bag. I stepped off the porch and walked over to it. The bag was torn open. Inside, the burger wrapper was discarded, and the food was half eaten, just tossed in the mud. A wave of unease washed over me. Who would steal food from a porch just to take 2 bites and throw it in the grass? As I stood there in the rain, looking at the garbage, a horrific realization hit me. To get from the front porch to this spot in the grass, whoever took the food had to have walked right past the side of the house. I slowly turned my head and looked down the side walkway toward the backyard. The wooden gate that leads to our backyard was wide open, swinging gently in the wind. Panic started to set in. Our backyard is fenced in, and the only way out is back through that gate. I quickly walked around the side of the house, my heart pounding in my ears. I peeked around the corner into the backyard. The back patio light was off, but the back door to our house, the heavy wooden door leading into the kitchen, was wide open, exposing the dark interior of the house. I hadn't left that door open. It was deadbolted when I came downstairs. Someone hadn't just stolen my food. They had waited for the delivery driver to leave, taken the food, walked to the backyard, picked the lock on the back door, and gone inside. And they were currently inside my house. I didn't go back in. I sprinted across the wet grass, ran 3 houses down, and frantically banged on my neighbor's door until they woke up and let me in to call the cops. When the police cleared my house, they found muddy footprints leading from the kitchen, up the stairs, and directly into my bedroom. The closet door in my bedroom, which I always keep shut, was left wide open. The person had been hiding in my closet, just a few feet behind my desk chair, while I had my noise-canceling headphones on. If that delivery driver hadn't dropped off my food, causing me to go downstairs and check the front door, I would have eventually just gone to sleep in that room. I don't even want to think what would have happened next.